Félix. So, good morning, good afternoon, good evening for everyone. We are starting a new episode of the Teacher's Lounge, and today I am here with my friend Thiago Félix. Hello, Thiago. Tell me a little about you, man.
Hey y'all, I'm Thiago. I'm 26. I've been a teacher for a little while now, for around 4 years. I really love teaching. I happen to be an English teacher, but I actually love teaching everything and anything to everybody and anybody. And I am a graduated teacher. I am specialized um, in diversity and humanistic relationships in the classroom and in active methodologies, problem-based learning, and conflict solving relations too. And it's a very good approach. I really like it, and it shows results. And yeah, that's it. I guess about me. I don't know.
Very good, that's nice. And this kind of approach is very interesting nowadays because we live some conflictual times, situation where opinions, diverse opinions can get into conflict, and you have to know how to deal. But before we get into this, I would ask you, because you have experience in language schools that are known by using the communicative approach, some of them, others diversity too, but usually this is the way we work. And you also work in regular schools, in official schools, yeah? And I would like to know what's the difference between them. You see, what's the difference of approach, of kind of student?
Oh, nice question. Excellent question. Well, first of all, the thing is, schools, private schools, especially regular private schools, they are about one thing and one thing only, getting students into colleges and universities. So they have their exams, and we are teaching English as a subject. We don't teach English for them to speak, to communicate themselves, to show the world their views or anything. We are teaching them to read texts and to um, point and get higher scores than anybody else. So, and for language schools that focus already and only on communication. They sell communication, but what it is, it's kind of uh, a talk show, like the teacher is there to speak and then students get mesmerized, like, oh, look at that guy, he's speaking English. And then the student goes by for like 3, 4 years, and when they get out, it's like, oh my god, I don't know how to speak English. I am ashamed to communicate. I can't talk. I'm a very good listener, I am a very good reader, but I can't write in English, I can't speak in English. So actually both of them are incomplete in a sense. And I feel like I am working more when I am working for a language school. But in both of them, I feel like I'm pretending. I don't know if I am being like cynical or something, but giving private classes, I feel way better because I can see my students really growing, and they can have their pace, they have their objectives very clear, and I can approach them and see their needs. In both of those modalities, like um, the private or even the the public schools, they are focused on English as a subject, and private language schools, they are focused on um, getting students to think they are learning how to speak, but they aren't. They are learning how to listen and laugh sometimes. I don't know.
Very nice. Um, I think this is very real, this difference, because the language schools, when they are big companies, franchise ones, they have these commercial needs, and the way they see the teaching process is very infected with these commercial logics. So sometimes we go there, we give them a level test for them to take, and we analyze their needs. However, we don't have a group for them right now, and we have multi-level classes. We have classes with a very big age differences, which sometimes may turn things a little harder. So we have to deal with problems that we could deal better if we were organizing our life in a private student environment. Even groups with two, three, but not with 12 so different one from the other about their needs, not their lives or anything like that, but their needs, because needs are important to be analyzed. The regular schools, public or private ones, they have this orientation of reading and actually reading, listening, not so much, and the other skills, forget about them. So it's like to prepare how to take a test to get into college. That's it. So I really love the environment of taking the students, analyzing the needs, and preparing a tailor-made class for them. Like, oh, you need this, and then we can check the development so much better. And also, and now I'm going to this idea of humanistic approach because I said, okay, about their needs, we need to take people in a class that have alike needs because we can do better with them. But when we are talking about people in general, this is unavoidable and even desirable that we are going to deal with people from different origins, different places, with different opinions, different ways of view. And I think that the language schools, the material they prepare, are so pattern, about the way they see people, the way they see how you speak English, the places you are from, etc. And I don't see many diversity there. What do you think about
Yeah.
that?
It's very funny you saying this because you're saying about this it shows me that I thought something now. By reading the content of the book, of the workbook we're dealing with, you can kind of guess who wrote it, like where they live, how old they are, uh, their gender, their sexual orientation, their religion. We can know everything because they tell us that we need to be very um, open and everything, but in their mindset, they have some bias, you know, and I think that it's exactly as you put it, because when we are dealing with so many kids, so many teenagers, and or even young adults, elderly people, they have so many things. And I am all for inclusion. I think depending on how you deal with it, you can make everyone get along. But the thing is, they are not made for that because, first of all, we don't have time for this. We don't have time to make a report like you talked with Rodrigo in the previous session. Like, we don't have time for a report because there are two things. One of them, the commercial of the school is always throwing new people inside your classroom. And the second one, you are rushed to into finishing the workbook. The workbook dictates how both schools work, the language school and the private school. The workbook is what grants them more money. So students can, be in the school owing 3 months or of their course or their mensality, but the moment they delay the payment for the workbook, then things get serious. So we need to finish the workbook. How am I supposed to make a good discussion in a 1 hour class if I have a book to finish? Like, this is the more important thing for them. Like, um, granting that the next one is getting bought. So very, they're not much worried about humanity, I guess, because to be human is to wait, is to have questions and learning, and these kinds of things take two things. Actually three: compromise and time and affection. In private language schools, teachers come and go all the time. Students feel bad about it, and they're like, teacher, the last teacher just stayed with us for 2 months. Are you staying longer? Are you trying to understand that I am a foreign person? Are you going to understand that I'm gay, that I am a trans person, that I'm a black person, that I am a white cisgender heterosexual person? Are you going to understand that? They don't know. And actually, we are not oriented about any of those things at all. And we're just thrown inside this arena. And sometimes the books come with those themes, like more modern books are trying to include like the diversity parade and feminism sometimes, white feminism, by the way. But okay, do the teachers get an orientation about it? Like, does someone invite a transgender person to give a speech, to give a talk to all of the school about how to deal with a trans student? No. We get our points of view, and if the school is lucky, the trans student is lucky, we get a teacher with this kind of sensibility. If they don't have it, well, too bad. We have a workbook to finish. I guess this is how I think about this humanistic approach in private and public regular private regular schools.
That's right. And you were talking about this dictatorship of the workbook, you know, that sometimes avoids us from getting in touch with the real people we are dealing with. We have distance between them because we need to be practical, really practical about it. And sometimes the pace of the book is not so real for some kind of students. But not only the pace or the things, but I think the thing gets bigger because the kind of and this is another very interesting subject for us, the matter of the accent, which is always a pattern too in the course books we use in language schools. It's like, oh, you have to be a person from Washington or from New York or from London,
Totally.
or you don't speak English, you know. So how do you see that? And do you try to deal with it with bringing up different accents? What do you do?
Actually, unfortunately, I only learned one kind of English, Washington English, and this is what I teach my students. But I give them orientation about other kinds of languages, other kinds of accents. Sorry, and the more important, I teach them the function of the pronunciation. So, for example, I teach them how to say the TH pronunciation in a way that it's not an F, because these can generate a kind of disturbance in comprehension. But I don't tell them, look, you need to speak like a native person. We're not supposed to do that. No one is. Like, we have those guides, like those foreigner teachers who come from New York or who come from Australia, New Zealand, I don't know. And they're like, look, you don't say Facebook, you say Facebook. I mean, come on. I'm a Brazilian person. I have no obligation at all. Because when you come here, you can even get our genders right. You know, you say a carro and everybody think this is cute. This is nice because you're not worried about that. You're entitled, and I don't like this kind of entitlement. So I am very blunt to my students. I tell them, look, I am teaching you guys Washington English. I don't know any other, but um, this will be enough for you to work. You know, this will be enough for you to function. There are other. Um, you don't need to talk like Barack Obama. You know, you're not uh, a TV host. You won't be. You're not supposed to be. Uh, this is also teaching them that they are inherently wrong. You know, you can learn English, but unless you learn it more than the natives themselves, you won't be enough. And I have talked with many American, New Zealanders, English people, Australians, and sometimes they make some mistakes. You know, it's common. It happens with us with Portuguese. How wouldn't it happen? And this is something interesting too. We will never listen about Ave, you know, the African American vernacular English. We will never talk about that in private schools. And they say like, um, who do you think you is? And they live there. So how am I supposed to tell my student, look, you need to learn perfect English, otherwise you won't be good enough? No, you know, I think that's cynical, because those people who are teaching them how to speak very correctly, they are not trying to do that with our language because they know it's not possible. So what are they really selling when they say, hey, learn how to pronounce Levi's correctly? It's not Levi's. it's Levi's. What are they trying to achieve with that? I guess, I think that this generates more distancing than um, communication and like accessibility. I don't know. I feel like I'm talking too much, but this is something that make me that makes me so interested that I just can't stop talking. So I don't know.
This is not a problem at all. Actually, I like it very much. Many things you said, and I wrote down here three of them that I would like to comment. First of one is speaking these accents, like the Londoner or the American, isn't enough because nowadays we don't see like a country owns the language. This is not real because the ones who would own them by right would be the British ones. However, their accent is not the most spoken in the world. The most spoken is different. And if we see the America as the American English and America as a country, they don't have an official language. They don't have. So English is not official language in the United States either. And there's a term that many people use, and if I'm not wrong, it comes from Jeremy Harman, maybe, that says that English is a lingua franca, just like the Latin used to be in the Roman Empire. So, as they are the empire of the world nowadays, they put their language as a pattern of communication to the world. However, this pattern has many kinds of diversity too, has variations. So the accent of an Italian speaking English is very strong. We can notice, oh, this is an Italian person or a Spanish person or the Brazilian. There are so many details of our pronunciation. For example, we don't like the muting consonants in the end of the word. So we say doggy, we say Facebooky, yes? And this is okay. It's one of our characteristics as English speakers, and that's okay, no problem. So I like this. I like this idea of nobody owning the language being lingua franca, and the speaker doesn't need to be ashamed or embarrassed because of the way they speak. But going through this way, I remember of a case in New York, I think, where a man started to shame a girl who was a waitress in a restaurant, telling her to, oh, you must speak English. You're in America. And then this subject of no, the official language in America is not English as well. So you're just saying bullshit. And this idea of how polarized is the society and how people lose their minds for nothing, and start to be aggressive to others. This is very present in our society today, and it's a thing that we want it or not is going to the classroom, and you have to deal with it. And you told me in the beginning of our talk here that you have this experience in these studies about how to control this kind of situation, to be a mediator of these conflicts.
Yeah.
And in classroom, we have many sensitive topics as well. So I would like you to go to this way a little bit.
Well, the first thing that I would say for teachers in general is that when we get inside a classroom, we are not ourselves. We won't be. We can't be. You guys talked about being friendly, but not a friend. And this is the same thing. Like, you are a teacher, you are not a political person, you are not a religious person. You will do what has to be done, and that involves empathy. That involves that, yes, you are not someone apart from society, but you are exerting a role inside the classroom. And our culture tells us that we are teaching. So we are saying what people can say, we are saying how they can behave, and what they are going to do when they are living in a kind of situation. So if I see a student reproducing some commentary on another student, for example, I won't I won't make a scene inside the classroom, you know. I won't um, make them go away. I will speak to them privately first, and I will understand that, professionally speaking, that kid, that teenager, that man who, I don't know, has just defended genocide, or that the earth is flat, or that um, the Holocaust didn't happen, they are coming from something. And as a teacher, as a professional, my role is to show the scientific fact. And if you are on stories, on the history side, on the science side, on the languages side, if you read a little bit of Chomsky, of Labov, you know, if you know what you're talking about, there is no discussion. Those are the facts. I'm sorry. Okay, you are talking this, but it's not up to me. I can think that this is stupid, but it's my job to come above this and just tell them, look, I know that you think the Holocaust didn't happen, but that's not what really happened. I understand that you're trying to defend, and this is very tricky because they're at the same time our clients. So, as you said, people nowadays are very entitled, and there are so many videos about Karens and everything, going insane inside supermarkets because, I don't know, there is a black guy trying to buy something and he's wearing a very fancy jacket, and they're like, where did you get this jacket? You stole it. Like, people feel entitled to impose their point of view on others, and this comes from a lack of teaching, because we didn't teach them how to discuss properly, how to show their feelings properly. So I come to them with empathy and I say, look, you can show what you're feeling. You can't feel ashamed about making mistakes in my classroom, because the students nowadays, they are so embarrassed about teaching. And then again, when we come to a person who has who has learned that if they say McDonald's, which by the way appropriated this, they write Mackie as we do, as we say it in Portuguese. You know, they know what they're doing, and we say, look, uh, you can't be wrong. So of course, if I can't be wrong, I have to make sure I'm right all the time. I am entitled to righteousness. And I make them calm down. You know, look, you can make mistakes. Don't say you're sorry because you said I are student. You know, feel free. You are free here. This is a free space. So, but understand that this is a free space not only for you but everybody inside. here, and I can't let you disturb this freedom. I can't let you make another person feel bad about themselves because you won't feel that way. I can't let you be that way. As much as I despise you, as much as I don't agree with your point of view, I have to make sure that inside that classroom, I give them the scientific facts. And then what they do with that uh, comes later, and is that it's their problem. This is their problem. But I planted the seed, and as I said, it takes time, it takes patience, it takes practice. But 2 months later, 6 months later, 3 years later, you see finally the result. And when it happens, it's very satisfying. But you have to kill a lion a day, sometimes the whole zoo, sometimes the whole planet. But in my perspective, it works because um, at the end of the day, the student comes and say, "Teacher, you helped me. I was I was understanding everything differently. I didn't respect my classmates. I didn't respect my parents. I didn't respect my girlfriend, and now I do." So this is not just teaching language. It's teaching how to use language, how to be more polite, how to be more human, more empath. So I try a lot of positive discipline and task task-based learning, um, putting holding the student accountable. You didn't do that. Oh, okay, this will have a natural consequence. It's not a punishment. Well, you didn't do your homework, you won't learn. You are the bigger interest. You are the biggest interested here. I can't put information inside your head. We're discussing. We're building communication. We're building language. If you don't do your work, if you don't respect your classmates, if you don't respect your environment, how are you supposed to be respected? How are you supposed to evolve? This won't happen. So I will try to make this happen um, every time, like every class. Sometimes it doesn't work that way. Sometimes it takes much more practice, um, much more emphasis. Sometimes this gets me fired, but well, I am a teacher. I like what I do, and I need to do what I do.
That's great. That's great. I was thinking here, don't you think that this entitlement people have nowadays, uh, this thing has two possible origins. And I would say the first one is that in the past, back in the 50s, the 60s, the kind of approaches to teach any subject, language courses or not, it was so from from above, it has started to be freer and freer and freer, and some new ideas like, oh, you are what you want to be, build yourself. It was not very real in the 50s or in the 60s. People were more like orientated to be a worker. That's it. And we started to get more importance. The things started to be more human centered. And on the other hand, there is this rising of new ways to communicate, like the social media, where you don't need to wait for the newspapers. Now you see a fake news and you put your opinion in public and you have engagement of, I don't know, from 12 people to 12 million. So this brought to people this feeling of, man, I'm a self-made person. I can just say whatever I want because everyone is right. There's no science anymore. There is no right or wrong. It's my opinion. You have to respect, and that's it. But kinds of opinion, like these ones you mentioned, oh, the Earth is flat, or there was no genocide of Jewish people, there was no dictatorship in Brazil or anything like that that they like to say. Yeah, yeah, this kind of a feeling we have in society brings these problems for us. What do you think? Makes sense?
Yes, I think it makes so much sense. And there is something too, like uh before, like back in the day, back in the 50s, actually I think that even the 80s, the 90s, people were raised to think like if you don't know something, if you are wrong, you are dumb, you are inferior, you are weak, you are incompetent, you are not supposed to achieve anything, you will be a garbage man, as if a garbage man was something inferior. Like in my school, when I used to study, so many times teachers would say, you won't study, not to me, but for other students who were already in need. They were in need for people to understand them. You won't be nothing. You won't be anything. Sorry. You will be a garbage man. This is your future. And then um, they go to the internet and they find someone who says, no, look, you are important, you are entitled to your opinion, you don't need to research, the teachers lie to you, the teachers don't like you, the teachers won't accept you, they won't accept your differences. Some people will find solace in this place, and then they will feel right, they will um, they will feel connected to something. And this is what humans need: more connection. We aren't alone. I mean, we are alone as individuals, but we need relations. We need trading. We need to understand. So when you get this, like, I feel understood now. So you can't talk to me like that anymore. You are lying because someone who treats me better said that you're a liar. How am I not to believe them? You have never been nice to me. I had so many difficulties in school, and this place tells me that it wasn't necessary to put up with all this shit. So this is so interesting. People will find that the only thing they need is money to pay for your salary, and say, since I'm paying you, you have no say in my political view, in the way I treat my classmates. You are here to teach me English. You're not here to make me talk about the gays. You're not here to tell me about the roundness of the planet. You're here to teach me English. I mean, yeah, but I need to teach you the world round. I need to teach you the world, the word sexuality. How am I supposed to do that? I need to tell you that the world exists beside uh, your worldview. There are so many others. There are so many different worldviews, and people grow apart. They grow thinking, well, I don't need to comprehend anything. No one has ever tried to comprehend me. What I need to do is impose myself. And then we have these kinds of fights, people feeling like they need to know more, and that you have a specific job as a teacher. And actually, they think they know more about teaching than you, because back in their day, school really worked. We respected our teachers and stuff like that. They hated school. Who likes school? Like I hated school, and I'm a teacher. I try to make the experience for my students to be the less nauseating as possible. But I know we are not supposed as kids to be inside a classroom during 6 hours a day, learning all the time that we are wrong and that we are not good enough, and that being who we are is not enough, is wrong. Like, I grew up as a gay kid, and it was so much harder for me to find myself inside this world. The only thing I wanted was to run. And so many people want to do that too. So why wouldn't they want other people to run from them? You know, I think that when we are talking about empathy and teaching people how to deal with other people, we're trying to do that. They feel like they feel responsible for themselves and for the others around them. And I think that it's part of us as English teachers too, to understand that an Italian will speak with us with a different language, with a different accent. Yes, but he also thinks something about women. He also thinks something about kids, about politics, about soccer, about cartoons, you know? And we will find a Nigerian, we will find a Jamaican, and all of those people who are, as you said, speaking this lingua franca, they come with baggage. If we're not to learn how to deal with that, many schools sell that we will be citizens of the world. How can you be a citizen of the world if you have the same worldview as if you grew inside a cabin in the woods? You won't be citizen of anything, you know. So it's very related, I think.
Yeah, good. You were talking, and I was thinking about some ideas here too. That maybe a good approach avoids conflicts in classroom related to these things. And a good approach is this one that you said, that no one is an island. We need to relate, and that we need to talk about the world we live in. There's no other way. And the world you live is a world where you will find every kind of thing that exists. Yeah. So it's like, don't deny your perception, but accept it. Because if you are perceiving things around you, it's because you're alive and you have a mind to perceive. So use it the best you can. This is one idea, maybe. And
Yeah, totally.
another thing is like how a good approach can also help people to avoid these wrong thoughts. Because if we are honest to ourselves, these ideas like denying the science, this is all very profitable. There is a network of communication, etc., that is earning a lot of money with it. So this kind of idea is going to be around the people, students, unavoidably. However, with a good approach, and you said like all those teachers, sometimes they have good and progressive ideas, but they don't know how to deal with the student because they are putting an approach kind of aggressive to the student. And if you are more like, come on, let's talk, because you're 15, you're 16, you have your future, and it's not taken that you are a Nazi or you're a racist. No, we can talk, and this is something that can be changed.
Yeah, that's what I do too. Like, I don't say, look, shut up, you're being sexist. Shut up, you're being racist. I don't want to teach you. I'm a black guy and you're being racist towards me. I'm a professional. So I will say, well, in my life, I may argue in Facebook using those terms, but this is a different story, you know. Uh, I'm kidding. I won't say that. I will give them scientific facts too. But the thing is, I won't be so much patient in this kind of situation. But when I'm in a classroom, I will use my professional patience to tell them, look, don't you think that you are reproducing a kind of speech that will hurt people that are inside this room? Wouldn't you feel weird if this happens to you too? Like, because this is the secret that no one tells. The other student is paying too, you know, like the person who is being disrespected is paying too. Like they are this literally the same human being, like in a class, in a class perspective, right? Because everyone is different. I understand this, but when it comes to being an individual, I can't say that someone is better than the other. I can tell you, I don't know, Kevin, that since your dad work for IBM, that you are to tell everyone here that the earth is flat. I don't care. And this is something interesting too. Like, we don't need to die on this hill. You know, it's not up to me. Like, this is just the scientific facts. What you do with them is up to you. But dude, I won't be like losing nights of sleep trying to convince someone that the obvious thing is obvious. I just need them to respect that there are other people here that, and as you said, this will make them. I'm talking about stubborn students, you know, because there are so many stubborn too. Like, um, but if they want, if they need to believe the earth is flat, there is nothing I can do to prove them that the earth is round. I don't know. If they have such a strong view that I don't know, transsexuality doesn't exist, I won't be able in an hour of a class, in a 1 hour, in a 1 hour class, to teach them about this because I have a workbook to follow, right? So what I will say is, look, you are seeing an actual trans person in front of you. Respect that person. It doesn't matter what you think about them. This is not important here. We're not discussing this here. We're not discussing if it is right or wrong to be that way. Like, to me, it's like arguing if being tall is right or not. You know, I tend to use these kind of comparisons, and then they feel like, okay, it's kind of ridiculous. I won't say this anymore because yes, you can't. I don't like people who are born with blue eyes. Okay, are you going to rip them off? Are you going to beat everyone who is born blue-eyed? You can do nothing. You can do nothing to change that. So accept it or not, but you will be silent about that intolerance you have in my classroom because I have a class to give. I have a blue-eyed student inside my room, and they also need the same respect I'm giving you. If I won't respect you the same way you are not respecting that student, you will feel bad. So don't do that with them, and I won't do that to you, and you won't do that to me. And everyone will live in a very good environment with a little bit of rapport. Otherwise, you are free to go. I'm sorry. Or I am free to go. I may be fired for that, but I won't accept, you know. Of course, there are moments in which I need to eat. So I will try to find the little breaches to make the environment more tolerable. But this is not something I tend to do for long. You know, I either have a respectable environment or I don't have it and I leave, or the other person leaves because when push comes to shove, something needs to be done about the victim, about the person who is being disrespected. I need to make them, because they're by themselves, like they're doing anything. They're not disrupting my class. They're not making the things worse. The other person is. So the other person is the one who needs to leave, you know? And this is important too. The person feeling like they will miss a very good experience. If you don't know people, you will miss so many things, so many things to learn, so many foods, so much food to try, so many cultures, so many music styles. There are an infinitude of things you miss by not being human. Accepting the other person is being human. You are human. You want acceptance. Why not give it?
Actually, we are reaching to the end of this conversation, even though it's been great, but that's it. So I'd like to thank you very much, Thiago. It
Thank
was
you.
very nice. And if you want to give some tips or to say some last words in this show, it's your turn.
Wow.
Go there.
Thank you. Well, thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for fellow teachers for listening. I hope it has enlightened you in some way. There is a very good documentary called Blue Eyes. This is where I got my example. It's a very nice one to talk about racial relations, but we can apply this to anything. And try not to lose your focus and your patience. Try to understand this as a job you have to do, and that you need to be good to yourself and to others. This may give you a better way of seeing teaching and seeing differences. I hope you understand that differences are important. I hope this wasn't the last. I want to be hear more. I like speaking. So I am inviting myself, okay,
Of
for
course.
more because I really liked it.
That's it. You're invited because you're going to be here many more times for sure. It was
Thank you
great,
so
Thiago.
much.
I thank you very much, man. It's always very nice talking to you.
It
Okay,
was.
people. I appreciate your listening. Thank you. See you soon.